You've been here before, you know that feeling, you have a goal, a task, a dream even, and yet, instead of taking that first step or finishing that project, you find yourself scrolling, wandering, waiting, telling yourself you'll do it later, promising that tomorrow you'll finally start, but tomorrow never comes, does it? Tomorrow is just another today with the same excuse, the same fear, the same resistance. Procrastination is a silent killer, not of time alone, but of potential, confidence, and the life you could have lived. And it's time to end it, not delay it, not manage it, but kill it once and for all. You weren't born to hesitate, you weren't made to stall. Inside you lives a force far greater than you've ever imagined, and it's waiting. No, begging to be awakened. But that force is being buried under the weight of excuses, the habit of delay, the addiction to comfort. You tell yourself you're waiting for motivation, for clarity, for the right time, but none of that is coming unless you decide it's time. You have to stop negotiating with your feelings and start making decisions based on your future. You see, procrastination isn't a problem of laziness. It's a problem of self-belief. Somewhere along the way, you convinced yourself that what you want isn't urgent enough, isn't worth fighting for right now, or that you aren't good enough to start. You bought into the lie that there's still time, but you don't know that. Time is not your friend when you waste it. Time becomes your enemy when you take it for granted, and every second you spend postponing your life is a second you'll never get back. To kill procrastination, you have to stop seeing yourself as someone who puts things off. Stop saying, "I'm a procrastinator," like it's your identity. That's a label you gave yourself, and like any label, it can be ripped off and burned. You're not a procrastinator, you're a decision maker who has been afraid to decide. You're a leader who has forgotten how to lead yourself. And the way to reclaim your power is not by thinking about the future, but by taking ownership of this moment, right now. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Don't wait for perfect conditions. They're a myth. There is no magical alignment of the stars that will make it easier for you to begin. Action is what creates momentum, not the other way around. You don't get motivated and then act. You act, and that creates motivation. You don't find your way and then walk it. You walk, and the path reveals itself. Stop trying to figure everything out before you move. You're not supposed to have all the answers yet. That's not how growth works. You learn by doing. You find clarity by showing up, not by thinking about showing up. You've been hiding behind distractions. You've been telling yourself you're busy, but you know better. You know there's a deeper fear underneath it all. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of success even. What if you do try and you're not good enough? What if you start and you don't finish? What if you actually get what you want and can't handle it? Let me tell you something. None of that matters. What matters is that you try anyway, that you show up in spite of the fear. That you take the risk of becoming something more, because that's what's at stake here. This isn't just about tasks and deadlines. This is about your life, your future, your purpose. Every time you procrastinate, you trade what you want most for what feels good now. You trade growth for comfort, progress for pleasure, and before you know it, days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and months into regret. But regret is a choice. You can choose a different path. You can decide that enough is enough. That from this moment on, your life belongs to your discipline, not your mood. Discipline is how you kill procrastination. Not willpower, not motivation. Discipline. The decision to do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. You have to train yourself to follow through, to show up, to deliver, because your future depends on it. Success is not about talent. It's about consistency. The most successful people in the world aren't the smartest or the most gifted. They're the ones who act. They're the ones who do it anyway. You must build habits that make procrastination impossible. Create a structure that supports your goals. Don't rely on motivation. Build systems. Wake up with a plan, make your tasks non-negotiable, start your day with purpose, and most importantly, take the first step. Every single day, action kills fear, action silences doubt, action rewires your brain to believe in you again. You don't need to finish the race today, but you do need to take the next step, because momentum compounds, small wins build confidence, and confidence destroys procrastination. Speak to yourself with power. Watch your language. The words you use matter. If you keep telling yourself, "I'll try," or "maybe later," you're programming yourself to lose. Replace weak language with commitment. Say, "I will," "I must," "it's done." Burn the bridges that lead back to comfort. Declare that procrastination no longer has a seat at your table, that your goals, your dreams, your future are too important to delay. You need to reconnect with your why. Why does this matter to you? What are you fighting for? Who are you becoming through this process? Your why has to be bigger than your excuses. You must dig deep and remember what's at stake. If you keep putting things off, you risk never becoming the person you were born to be. But if you act now, if you stay consistent, you will shock yourself with how powerful you are. Forgive yourself for the past. Let go of the guilt, the shame, the wasted time. You don't need to carry that anymore. What matters is what you choose now. Today can be the turning point. Today can be the day you say no more. You're not here to repeat the past. You're here to rewrite the story, and that story begins with action. Stop overcomplicating everything. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Simplicity wins. Choose one thing and do it. Make the call, write the email, start the project. Just start. The first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most powerful. Once you break that barrier, you prove to yourself that you can. And when you do it once, you can do it again. That's how confidence is built. Not by thinking, by doing. Surround yourself with people who push you forward. Environment matters. Energy is contagious. If you're surrounded by people who settle, who delay, who justify inaction, you'll become them. But if you surround yourself with action, takers, with people who live with urgency, who value growth, who execute, you'll rise to that level. Protect your space. Be ruthless about it. You're building something extraordinary. Don't let small minds distract you. Replace procrastination with urgency. Live like your life depends on this, because it does. You only get one shot, one chance to create something meaningful, one opportunity to become the person you know you can be. There are no rewinds. There are no do-overs. All you have is now. And if you don't act now, you might never act at all. You were not born to live in hesitation. You were not made to be average. You were not created to waste time. Every fiber of your being was built for greatness, but greatness requires urgency. It requires decisiveness. It requires sacrifice. You have to be willing to trade comfort for purpose, distraction for discipline, fear for faith. You have to choose growth even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. This is the battle you must win. Not once, not twice, but every single day, because procrastination doesn't die easy. It's a sneaky enemy. It waits for you to be tired. It shows up when you're stressed. It disguises itself as self-care, as "I need a break," as "I'm just thinking it through." Don't fall for it. See it for what it is. A lie, a trap, a thief, and the only way to defeat it is to move relentlessly, intentionally, powerfully. Every time you feel like delaying, take action, even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if it's uncomfortable, especially then, because every time you act, you weaken procrastination's grip. You reclaim your power. You shift your identity. You stop being someone who waits and become someone who creates. You are capable of more than you know. You've barely scratched the surface of your potential, but you'll never find out what's possible if you keep putting things off. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for signs. Stop waiting for someone to save you. No one's coming. This is your job, your life, your dream, and you are more than enough to make it happen. You don't need a miracle. You need a decision, a commitment. A fire in your soul that says, I'm done delaying, that says today I rise, that says procrastination dies now. Let this be your turning point. Let this be your wake-up call. Let this be the day you look back on and say, that's when everything changed. Take back your time. Take back your power. Take back your life, and do it now, not tomorrow, not later, not when you feel ready. Do it now, because the world needs your gifts. Your purpose needs your energy. And your future self is waiting to thank you for the decision you make today. And as you take that first step, something changes inside you. You begin to remember what it feels like to be in control again. You remember the fire you had, the one that used to burn for your dreams before comfort numbed it. And now you fan those flames with every action you take. You no longer wait for the perfect moment. You create it. You don't ask permission from fear anymore. You silence it with boldness. This is your time, and you're claiming it, one act of courage at a time. When the excuses creep back in, and they will, you confront them. You no longer let them run wild in your mind unchallenged. You question them. You shine the light of truth on them. I'm too tired. No, you're tired of being stuck. I don't have time. No, you've been wasting time. What if I fail? What if you don't try, and that haunts you forever? The truth is, the pain of regret will always be greater than the discomfort of effort. So you choose effort. You choose to lean into the challenge rather than escape it. Understand this. Procrastination thrives in the dark. It feeds on uncertainty, fear, and doubt. But the moment you bring clarity, intention, and action into your life, procrastination loses its grip. That's why you need vision. A clear vision pulls you forward when excuses try to drag you back. Paint a picture in your mind of the life you want. Make it vivid. Make it emotional. Make it so powerful that it becomes impossible to ignore. That image becomes your fuel, your compass, your reason to keep pushing when everything else says stop. It's not going to be easy. That's not the point. Easy has never changed anyone. Easy has never built greatness. The path to destroying procrastination is hard, but it's worth it, because on the other side of discomfort is freedom. On the other side of resistance is power. On the other side of this struggle is the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. And you get there by showing up every day, especially when you don't want to. You stop negotiating with your lesser self. That voice that says it's okay to wait a little longer no longer has authority. You drown it out with discipline. You silence it with action. You show that voice who's in charge, not with words, but with execution, because you've decided that average is no longer acceptable. You've decided that wasted potential is no longer your story. You've decided that procrastination will not rob you of another opportunity, another goal, another day, and if you fall, and you might, you don't stay down, you don't turn one bad day into a bad week, you don't make failure a habit. You acknowledge it, you learn from it, and you rise again and again, because real progress isn't perfect, it's messy, it's gritty, it's relentless, but it's yours if you choose to keep going. Let people talk. Let them mock, let them doubt you. While they're watching, you're working. While they're delaying, you're building. While they're playing small, you're stepping into your power. The greatest revenge against procrastination, and against anyone who ever underestimated you, is not words. It's results, and results don't come from dreaming. They come from doing. This is where your real life begins, not the fantasy, not the illusion, but the life you build with your own hands, the one you fight for, the one you earn. The one that reflects the strength and discipline you developed when you could have given in, but didn't. That's the life worth living. That's the life waiting on the other side of procrastination. You were not given this time by accident. You were not given your vision by mistake. There's something only you can build, something only you can offer, but it requires your full attention, your full effort, your full commitment, and that starts with the decision to stop waiting and start doing. So the next time you feel the pull to put things off, remember who you are. You are not weak, you are not stuck. You are not a victim of time. You are a force, a creator, a warrior, someone who acts despite fear, someone who shows up when it's inconvenient, someone who does what others only talk about. That's who you are when you stop letting procrastination define you. And when you wake up tomorrow, don't ask yourself what you feel like doing. Ask yourself what needs to be done. Ask yourself what your future self is depending on you for. Ask yourself how you want to end this day, with pride or with more excuses. And then move, not out of pressure, but out of purpose, not out of guilt, but out of greatness. Every second is a choice, and the power to choose is yours. Kill procrastination not just once, but every day. With every decision, with every step, with every breath, until it no longer exists in your vocabulary, until it becomes foreign to your identity, until the only thing that defines you is action, progress, and unstoppable momentum. So now you move. You rise with intention. You approach each day like it's your last chance to break free, because in a way it is. You don't drag your feet anymore. You don't stall. You don't talk yourself out of greatness. You charge forward with everything inside you, even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles, because the pain of staying the same has finally become greater than the fear of change. That's what it takes to kill procrastination. Not a trick, not a hack, but a transformation in how you see yourself and how you show up for your own life. Every single day, the world offers you distractions. The notifications, the temptations, the comfort zones, it all lures you back into that old identity, the one who waits, the one who puts things off, the one who settles. But now you choose to stay awake. You stay aware, you recognize the cost of delay, you train yourself to spot the enemy in disguise. Procrastination won't show up with a name tag. It'll show up as a thought, maybe later. It'll show up as fatigue, even when you've done nothing. It'll show up as rationalization. I've earned a break. But you now have eyes that see through the lies. And what happens when you choose action instead of delay? You begin to build a new identity. You become someone who honors commitments, someone who follows through, someone who finishes what they start. That changes you, that reshapes your mind, that builds inner trust, because there is no force more powerful than the trust you develop with yourself. When you know you'll show up, even when no one is watching, even when no one claps, even when it's hard, yourself, worth explodes. You don't need external validation when your own actions confirm your value daily. The truth is, procrastination is not about time management. It's about self-management. It's about deciding who you are and what you stand for. It's about declaring through your actions that your life is too important to waste, that your mission matters, that your voice matters, that the difference you're here to make will not be silenced by fear or laziness, that you refuse to let your potential rot in the waiting room of someday. Someday is the enemy, someday is the prison, someday is the slow death of every dream ever born inside the heart of someone too afraid to start. So today becomes everything. This moment becomes sacred. You wake up each morning knowing that you've been handed another shot to execute, to create, to build, to lead, and you do not take it lightly. There will still be days when it's hard, days when your old habits try to pull you back, days when procrastination whispers in your ear with the seduction of ease, but those are the days that matter most. That's the real battlefield, not the days when you feel strong, but the ones when you feel weak and still move anyway. That's what builds character. That's what builds resilience. That's what kills procrastination for good. And it's not about being perfect. You're not a machine. You're human. You'll have slip-ups. But now, you don't let one mistake become your identity. You don't let a missed task turn into a spiral. You don't justify falling back. You rise faster. You forgive quickly. You recommit without hesitation. Because this new version of you doesn't just act once. You act again and again until it becomes second nature. People around you will notice. they'll see the change, they'll feel your energy shift, they'll wonder what happened, and maybe they'll say you've changed. But that's the goal. You're not here to stay the same. You're not here to meet expectations. You're here to break them. You're here to exceed them. You're here to become a walking example of what happens when someone finally decides to stop waiting and start living. Your work, your goals, your projects, these are not just tasks on a list. They are the proof that you are alive and fighting for something real, that you're not just existing, you're creating, that you're not just thinking, you're building. And in a world full of dreamers who never move, you become the doer who leaves a mark. There's honor in showing up. There's glory in consistency. There's greatness in doing the work even when no one's clapping. Because true champions don't need applause. They need purpose, and you have that now. You've discovered that this battle with procrastination was never about the task. It was about becoming the kind of person who chooses action over excuses, who chooses progress over perfection, who chooses now over later. This mindset will follow you into everything: your health, your relationships, your career, your dreams. When you train yourself to take action, you change every area of your life. You stop waiting for love, you create it. You stop wishing for success, you earn it. You stop daydreaming about confidence, you build it brick by brick through what you do each day, so you keep moving. You stop starting over, you stop stopping, you keep stacking wins, tiny ones, massive ones, all of them count. Every time you complete something, every time you take even the smallest step, you are changing your brain, your body, your spirit. You are sending the message, I am capable, I am ready, I am doing this. And the beauty of this transformation is that it's available to everyone. There's no gatekeeper, there's no secret club. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the decision to act. And that decision is made in silence, no audience, no applause, just you and the next step, and you take it, again and again, because now you understand that killing procrastination is not a one-time thing. It's a lifestyle, it's a commitment, it's a way of showing up in the world, and every day you renew that commitment, not because you feel like it, but because you've decided that your life deserves better, that your dreams deserve a fighter, that your future deserves someone who doesn't quit. This is the standard now. This is the bar you've set. You don't lower it. You rise to meet it. And when you do, you begin to live in a way that most people only fantasize about. You experience progress. You create momentum. You build the kind of life that looks impossible to those who never moved. And if anyone asks you how you did it, you'll tell them the truth. You didn't wait. You didn't overthink, you didn't ask permission, you acted, you kept showing up, you made the decision once and proved it every day. That's how you killed procrastination. You made the decision and followed through. That's what changed everything, not a miracle, not a secret strategy, just raw, relentless consistency. You chose to face discomfort instead of flee from it. You chose discipline over distraction. You chose to become the kind of person who does the hard thing, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary, and now you're living with clarity, with purpose, with fire in your soul. You no longer need someone to push you. You've become your own fuel. You don't need a perfect plan. You've got momentum. You don't need every answer. You trust that the path will unfold as long as you keep walking. That's what progress looks like. That's what freedom feels like. Because that's the truth. Killing procrastination isn't just about productivity. It's about freedom. It's about becoming the master of your own time, the captain of your own fate. It's about living on your terms, no longer held hostage by fear, doubt, or laziness. Every time you act, you reclaim another piece of your power. Every time you move, you steal time back from the grip of delay. And that compounds, that adds up. One small act at a time, you begin to trust yourself again. You begin to believe in what you're capable of, and that belief is contagious. It starts to bleed into everything else you do. You walk differently, you speak differently, you lead differently, because you know, truly know, that you are someone who follows through. You are someone who does what others only talk about, People will ask you, how do you stay so disciplined? And the answer won't be flashy. You'll just smile and say, I made a decision, and I keep making it every day. And if they ask, but what if I'm not motivated? You'll tell them the truth. Motivation is fleeting. It's emotion. It comes and goes. But discipline, that's a decision, that's a muscle, and like all muscles, it grows when you use it. You didn't wait for motivation. You started moving. You didn't wait for the perfect moment. You created progress in the mess. And that's what set you apart. Killing procrastination didn't mean you became superhuman. It meant you stopped giving in to the lies. It meant you stopped listening to the voice that said, just wait a little longer. It meant you chose progress over paralysis. It meant you woke up and remembered that your life is happening now, not someday. Now the person in the mirror is different. They stand taller. They move with purpose. They speak with confidence. They don't flinch when it's time to do the work. Because they've seen what happens when you stop running from responsibility and start owning your life. And now procrastination has no power. It might whisper, but you don't listen. It might tempt, but you don't fall. Because you've trained yourself. You've conditioned your mind to act. And now your actions speak louder than any excuse ever could. You didn't need more hours in the day. You just needed to stop wasting the ones you had. You didn't need more talent. You needed to activate the potential already inside you. You didn't need to be perfect. You just needed to be consistent. Every day you made the same choice, act now, not tomorrow. Not later, now. You stopped overthinking. You stopped analyzing yourself into paralysis. You stopped waiting to feel ready. And you realized, no one ever feels ready. You only feel ready after you move. Confidence doesn't come before action. It's built by action, and now you've become dangerous. In the best way, because you're no longer delayed by doubt. You're no longer stalled by fear. You're no longer stopped by resistance. You move through it, you take it on, you destroy hesitation with forward motion. This is what it means to reclaim your life, to wake up and realize that you are not a victim of time. You are the owner of it. That your dreams are not waiting for the right conditions. They're waiting for you to act. And once you begin, the world shifts, not all at once, but slowly, powerfully, inevitably. People start to notice your results. Not because you talked louder, but because you worked in silence and let success make the noise. You became the person who finishes what they start, the person who rises earlier, who stays longer, who doesn't run when it gets hard, who doesn't hide behind I'll do it tomorrow. You killed that mindset, you buried that version of you, and you built someone new, someone unstoppable. You want the secret. It's in the boring stuff. It's in the early mornings when no one sees you. It's in the late nights when everyone else has given up. It's in the days you don't want to show up, but do anyway. It's in the work that feels thankless, but builds character. That's where greatness is born. That's where procrastination dies. Starved of attention, smothered by action. You realize now that there was never a magic formula. No shortcut, no hack, just a simple truth. Nothing changes until you do. Nothing moves until you move. Nothing is finished until you start. You're not waiting on life. Life was waiting on you, so you keep going, not once, not occasionally, but every single day. You kill procrastination not just in big ways, but in the tiny moments. The decision to open the laptop, to make the call, to write the paragraph, to take the first step. Every little victory is a dagger in the heart of delay. Every small win is a declaration. I am no longer controlled by the impulse to wait. And slowly the compound effect kicks in. One step becomes two, two becomes 10. 10 becomes a habit, a lifestyle, an identity. You're no longer pretending to be productive. You're no longer wishing for momentum. You've got it. You're no longer watching others live their dream. You're building yours, and when the days get hard, and they will, you'll remember the cost of procrastination. You'll remember the pain of inaction. You'll remember how it felt to live in the grip of regret, and you'll use that memory to push forward, to rise, to keep executing, because you've made a decision that's stronger than your excuses. You've chosen action over avoidance, purpose over comfort, growth over stagnation. This is who you are now, a finisher, a doer, a warrior, someone who shows up, someone who no longer lets procrastination have a say in their story. Every choice you make now feeds your future or robs it. And you're no longer okay with theft. You're no longer at peace with watching your goals fade away because of a few fleeting comforts. You've declared war on that old part of you, the one that always found a reason not to act. And every time you take a step forward, that version of you gets quieter, weaker, smaller, because you're feeding the fighter in you now, the one who rises, the one who endures, the one who gets things done even when it's tough, even when no one is watching, even when everything in your body says, quit. That's the ultimate shift, when your default reaction is to start instead of stall, to lean in instead of lean back, to push forward instead of stay still. And it's not a matter of how you feel. It's about what you've chosen to become. It's not a personality trait. It's a practiced identity. And every day, with every action, you reinforce it. You begin to realize something powerful. Procrastination was never the problem. It was only a symptom, a surface-level sign that fear, doubt, perfectionism, or even shame had taken the wheel. You procrastinated not because you were lazy, but because you were scared, scared of failing, scared of succeeding, scared of what people might think, scared of not being good enough, but now you face that fear head on. You walk through it because now you know. It's not about being fearless. It's about doing it anyway, and the more you act, the more the fear shrinks. It doesn't disappear, but it no longer controls you. It no longer defines you, because action creates clarity. Action builds courage. Action replaces fear with confidence, one step at a time. The more you move, the more unstoppable you feel, not in some loud, arrogant way, but in a quiet, powerful, grounded way. You know your direction. You trust your process. You believe in your ability to figure it out, because you've trained yourself to act, and you've seen the results. Not just in your goals, but in your mind, in your soul, in the mirror. You carry yourself differently now. You walk with the confidence of someone who doesn't wait for permission. You know your time is valuable, and you treat it like gold. Because it is. Time is the currency of life, and every time you procrastinate, you spend it on things that don't matter. But when you act, when you move, when you stay focused, you invest it, and those investments pay back with interest. They pay you back with freedom, success, self-respect, and impact. People may say you're obsessed, let them. People may say you work too hard, let them. People may not understand your intensity, your drive, your refusal to waste time. That's fine. You're not doing this for approval. You're doing this because you made a promise to yourself, a promise to stop waiting, a promise to show up, a promise to never again let time slip away while your dreams collect dust. You've realized that no one's coming to rescue you. No perfect moment is arriving. No external savior will show up to hand you a better life. It's on you, and that's not pressure, that's power, because if it's on you, then you're in control. You get to steer, you get to choose, and you've chosen to act. You've chosen to live in a way that makes you proud. You've chosen to operate with urgency, not panic, not haste, but urgency, a calm, focused intensity that says, this matters, I matter, my goals matter. And now you're building a legacy, not just checking boxes. You're not just working through a to-do list. You're becoming the kind of person who finishes, who executes, who delivers, and the beauty of it all. It's not just about goals. Killing procrastination transforms your entire life. It deepens your discipline, strengthens your relationships, builds your self-worth. Because when you show up for your responsibilities, you start showing up better for everything else. You become more present, more reliable, more alive. You stop playing the victim. You stop giving excuses oxygen. You stop handing your life over to distractions and delay, because you understand now. The clock is ticking. Not in a fearful way, but in a liberating way. Every tick is a reminder, you're still here, you're still capable, you still have time, if you use it, so use it to build, use it to lead, use it to love. Use it to serve, use it to rise. This is your turning point, not just a motivational moment, but a soul, deep decision to live differently from this moment on, not just for a week, not just for a season, but for life. You've tasted what it feels like to be in motion, to do the thing you used to dread, to watch a day go by knowing you gave your all, to go to bed not with regret, but with pride. And now that you've felt that, you won't go back. You can't go back. You've killed procrastination not by fighting it once, but by starving it daily, by choosing action, by building habits, by transforming your identity. Because once you know what it feels like to be consistent, to be disciplined, to actually show up for your own life, you can't unknow it. You can't pretend you're not capable anymore. You've shattered the illusion that you need to wait for inspiration. You've realized you are your own spark, your own engine, your own power source. That's the most liberating truth there is, and it's one that most people never experience because they never decide to fully commit. But you did. You committed to showing up even when it's hard. You committed to moving forward even when no one's cheering. You committed to finishing even when distractions scream louder than your goals. And now you're seeing what happens when that kind of consistency stacks up day after day. It's no longer just about overcoming procrastination. It's about becoming unstoppable. It's about building a life of purpose and control. It's about proving to yourself that no delay, no fear, no weakness is stronger than your will to execute. There will still be days when the temptation returns, when your mind says, just take it easy today, or you've done enough, or you can catch up tomorrow. And you'll smile because you'll recognize the lie. You've heard that voice before, you know its tricks, and now you know exactly how to silence it. With action, you don't negotiate with procrastination anymore. You don't reason with it. You override it automatically. Like a trained fighter in the ring, you counter its every move. Your instincts are sharp now. Your discipline is your weapon. You've reprogrammed yourself. Not overnight, but through hundreds of small decisions. You've become the kind of person who doesn't rely on motivation because you know it's not dependable. You don't ask how you feel. You ask what needs to be done. You don't wait for the mood, you create the motion, and that motion leads to mastery. Others may still be stuck, overthinking, planning, hesitating, but not you. You're moving, you're building, you're living proof that procrastination isn't a permanent state. It's a pattern that can be broken, a chain that can be smashed, and you've done it. You've proven to yourself that every day is a chance to rise, a chance to take control, a chance to dominate the task instead of letting it dominate you. And with every task you complete, something powerful grows inside you. Belief, the belief that you're not a slave to your impulses, that you're stronger than your distractions, that your goals are not some distant fantasy. They are real and they are reachable because you are doing the work to reach them. That belief fuels your momentum. It becomes your foundation, and it makes you dangerous in the best possible way. Because now, when others delay, you deliver. When others doubt, you decide. When others excuse, you execute. You've raised your standards. You no longer tolerate your own nonsense. You don't give your weaknesses an audience. You rise every time, and the world starts to take notice. Not because you shouted, but because you acted. And the reward, it's not just achievement, it's identity. You've become someone you're proud of. You've become a person of follow through, of grit, of courage, a person who doesn't waste their potential, a person who understands the value of time, a person who no longer dreams in theory, but in action. You are living in alignment with who you were meant to be. That's the deepest reward of all. You wake up now with clarity, with drive, with direction. You know your mission. You know your purpose. And even when the path is hard, you walk it. because it's yours. You've stopped living passively. You've taken your power back. You're not a spectator. You're a participant in your own life. You're not drifting. You're steering. You're not stuck. You're moving forward one powerful step at a time, and that power will compound, because discipline doesn't just help you kill procrastination. It becomes the force that shapes your entire destiny. It spills into your relationships, your health, your mindset, your money, your goals. You realize that discipline is the seed of freedom. That structure creates space. That effort creates ease. That sacrifice creates legacy. You've planted those seeds. You're watering them daily. You're watching them grow. And soon, the life you used to dream about won't just be possible. It will be your reality, not because you hoped for it, but because you worked for it, because you took control, because you stopped waiting. This is the moment you leave behind the old you, the one who hesitated, who delayed, who overthought and underacted. That person is gone. You've buried them with your actions. You've replaced them with someone new. Someone resilient, someone focused, someone committed, someone free, because that's what happens when you kill procrastination once and for all. You don't just finish the task, you change who you are. You live with fire in your soul and steel in your spine. You walk with purpose and power. You lead, you build, you inspire, not through words, but through example. You are ready for the pressure, ready for the responsibility, ready for the results. You're not afraid of the weight of your goals anymore. You welcome it. You don't run from hard work. You run toward it. You don't fear the climb. You embrace the burn, the grit, the grind. Because you know that every difficult moment you endure is shaping you into someone stronger, someone sharper, someone more capable than you've ever been. And now you're not just focused on finishing tasks. You're focused on dominating them. You don't check things off a list just to be done with them. You do it with excellence, with intention, with presence. That's the difference between someone who's just productive and someone who is powerful. You're building power, you're stacking wins, you're creating a track record that no one can deny, not even you. That internal scoreboard, it matters, because every time you win against the urge to delay, you're not just getting something done. You're telling yourself, I am who I say I am. That's how self-trust is born. That's how confidence is built, not from hype or empty affirmations, but from evidence, from action, from proof, and now you're walking with that evidence. Carrying it in your posture, your mindset, your choices. You're no longer faking it until you make it. You've made it this far because you faced what most people avoid. You've embraced the uncomfortable. You've chosen challenge over ease, and that makes you rare. It makes you respected, not just by others, but by the only person who really matters, yourself. Because self-respect is the foundation of real confidence. And self-respect is earned. You earn it by doing what you said you'd do, by showing up when no one's watching, by saying no to temptation and yes to transformation. And when you look back on this journey, you'll see how far you've come. Not just in accomplishments, but in evolution. You've evolved into a different kind of person, someone who is driven by purpose, not impulse, someone who takes action without delay, someone who wakes up knowing that every day is an opportunity to build something meaningful, not someday, but today. You've learned that time is your most valuable asset. You don't give it away cheaply. You don't waste it on things that don't align with who you want to become. You've made it sacred, and because of that, you've begun to multiply it. Because when you act with urgency and focus, time works for you, not against you. You bend it, stretch it, maximize it. You've turned time into a tool, not a trap. And this version of you, the one who kills procrastination before it even speaks, is here to stay. Because you've rewired your mind, rewritten the story, reclaimed your power, you don't fear deadlines anymore. You meet them early. You don't dread starting. You crave the rush of momentum. You don't negotiate with resistance. You steamroll it. Because now, taking action isn't a burden. It's who you are. It's your language. It's your DNA. So when life throws challenges your way, when the pressure mounts, when uncertainty creeps in, you won't fold. You'll lean into the pressure. You'll use it. You'll turn resistance into energy. friction into focus, adversity into action. You've seen what happens when you stop running and start rising. You've seen the rewards that come not from wishful thinking, but from relentless effort. And now you're addicted to progress, addicted to building, addicted to becoming. Others might still be searching for shortcuts, but you know the truth now. The only real shortcut is doing the work, day after day. Without drama, without delay, with purpose. That's how greatness is built, quietly, consistently, ruthlessly. You've killed procrastination not by shouting at it, but by starving it. You gave it nothing to feed on. No time, no attention, no room to grow, and in its place you built something unshakable, discipline, drive, direction. Now your life reflects your choices. Your goals are no longer stuck in your head. They're being built with your hands. One action at a time, one decision at a time, one battle one at a time. And when the world sees you, they won't see someone who had it easy. They'll see someone who earned it, who chose action over excuses. Who proved that procrastination isn't a life sentence? It's a bad habit that can be broken, crushed, eliminated. You've done what most people only dream of. You've taken control, not just of your calendar, but of your character. You've aligned your actions with your ambitions. You've taken the future into your own hands and begun shaping it into something real. You own your mornings now. You own your schedule. You own your mindset. You own your habits, and when you own those things, you own your life. You're not drifting anymore. You're designing, you're not hoping. You're hammering out your goals with deliberate action. You're not stuck in a loop of hesitation and regret. You're walking a path paved by your consistency, your courage, your commitment. You've crossed a line that most people only tiptoe around, the line between wishing and working, between talking and doing, between delay and discipline. You've stepped fully into the identity of a person who creates, who leads, who delivers. That's why now, when your alarm goes off, you don't groan. You rise. You rise because you know what's waiting on the other side of effort. You rise because you've felt the pride of progress. You rise because you've tasted the reward that only comes after choosing to act, when everything inside you told you to wait. You've stripped away the fluff, the lies, the layers of excuse. You've chosen responsibility over comfort, growth over ease, and that choice, though it seemed small at first, is transforming every part of your life. That's the power of killing procrastination. It doesn't just clear your calendar, it sharpens your soul. You're no longer in love with the idea of change. You're married to the work it requires. You're in a relationship with consistency, with execution, with mastery, and that relationship is paying you back with confidence, momentum, purpose. You're no longer the person who delays their dreams until the timing is right. You've learned that right now is always the right time when you're committed. You've learned that perfect timing is an illusion. That waiting only builds walls, but doing breaks them down. You've become a builder, a finisher, a force, and now your days look different. Your energy feels different, because you're not drained by indecision. You're fueled by clarity. You know what you want. You know why it matters. You know what it takes, and you're doing it over and over again. That repetition, that rhythm. It's rewiring everything. The mental fog that used to cloud your mornings. Gone, the guilt that used to follow you into the night. Gone. You go to bed now knowing you moved the needle. You made progress. You honored your potential, and you're not satisfied yet. That's not a bad thing. That's hunger. That's vision. That's the fire of someone who's not chasing one win. They're chasing evolution. You're not just trying to get things done. You're trying to get better, and better, and better. That's why you don't just kill procrastination once. You kill it every single day, with every action you take, with every minute you protect, with every choice you make to show up, suit up, and move forward. You've stopped letting fear hold the pen. You've taken it back. You're writing your own story now, a story that's not shaped by delays or distractions, but by decisive moves and determined steps, a story where you are not the victim of your time, but the author of your effort. And when doubt whispers, because it will, you don't freeze anymore, you don't fold, you move, you act, You show yourself again and again that confidence isn't something you wait for, it's something you build. And the foundation of that confidence is simple: doing what you said you would do. That's what separates you now. That's what defines your new identity. Not talent, not genius, not luck. Just brutal consistency and an unwillingness to quit. You're not perfect, and you don't need to be. You just need to be relentless, relentless in your pursuit of progress, relentless in your rejection of delay, relentless in your belief that your future deserves more than your excuses. Because you know now, every excuse is a thief, every delay is a detour, every moment you waste is a moment you could have used to build something lasting, but you've stopped wasting, you've stopped waiting, you've stopped wishing, you've started doing, and that has changed everything. So keep going, keep building, keep moving toward the life that's calling you, the life you've finally proven you're worthy of. Not because you said the right things, but because you did the right things. Because now you've stepped into your power in a way that can't be undone. You've experienced what it feels like to be fully aligned with your goals, to feel that electric charge that comes from doing instead of delaying. That momentum you've built is no longer fragile, it's solid, it's rooted in effort, it's grounded in evidence. You've proven to yourself, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you can win the war within, that you can rise above the noise, the resistance, the pull of comfort, and act anyway. This isn't just about crossing items off a to-do list. It's about transformation. Because the moment you committed to killing procrastination, you set fire to every excuse you used to hide behind. You demolished the stories that kept you playing small. You made a decision to take control of your time, and in doing so, you took control of your life. Now you understand. Your time is not just passing, it's being invested. Every action you take is a seed planted in the garden of your future. And you're not planting weeds anymore. You're planting trees, strong, steady, fruitful trees. You're building a forest of accomplishment that others will one day admire, but only you will truly understand the price of. Because behind every victory you achieve from this day forward is the invisible battle you fought with procrastination, the 1,000 moments where it would have been easier to postpone, to relax, to say not now. But you didn't. You showed up, you acted, and that choice, that strength, that consistency, it's carving a new destiny for you. You've learned that the most successful people in the world don't wait for things to feel right. They make the moment right by choosing to move. They don't wait for circumstances to align. They align themselves with their mission. You've joined that rare group now, the elite, the focused, the relentless, and it's not because you're better than anyone. It's because you decided to stop betraying your potential. That decision changes everything. From now on, you meet resistance with resolve. You meet doubt with discipline. You meet fear with forward motion. That's your formula, simple, ruthless, unbreakable. You don't need motivation. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You need one thing, your commitment, and you have that now, burning like a fire in your chest. There's a power in showing up day after day, especially when you don't feel like it. That power compounds, it grows, it hardens you, it elevates you, and it starts to make you unstoppable, not because you don't face resistance, but because you refuse to be ruled by it. You've become dangerous to every limitation that used to control you. You've become a nightmare to every excuse you once entertained. You've become a force that even your former self wouldn't recognize, and the world is going to feel that. The people around you are going to see it. They're going to notice that you don't talk the way you used to. You don't move the way you used to. You don't delay, doubt, or drift anymore. You make decisions, you follow through, you deliver, not because it's easy. Because it's who you are now. When you committed to killing procrastination, you declared war on everything that kept you small, and you won, not all at once, but one battle at a time, one action at a time. One day at a time. That's how real change happens. That's how legacies are built. So now you don't need to look backward anymore. The old you, The one who avoided, delayed, and escaped is gone. And even if that voice ever tries to whisper again, you won't listen. Because you've found something louder, purpose. You've found something stronger, drive. You've found something more powerful, action. You've become someone who acts despite fear, who moves despite doubt, who pushes despite pressure. And that identity, that power, that resilience, that's your foundation now. That's your compass, because killing procrastination once and for all wasn't just about getting more done. It was about waking up. It was about reclaiming your life. It was about remembering who you are when you stop waiting and start working, when you stop drifting and start deciding, when you stop hoping and start doing. So keep doing. Keep moving. Keep proving to yourself that this isn't a phase. It's a forever choice, a daily choice, a moment-to-moment decision to step into the fire of effort and walk through it with your head high, your back straight, your mind clear. You've earned the right to be proud, but don't stop here, because now you're not just fighting procrastination. You're building momentum, you're building legacy, you're building the life you were born to live. And it all started with a single, powerful decision to act, to rise, to kill procrastination, and to never let it resurrect again. This is your era now. Own it. Never look back, because the rearview mirror only shows you the version of yourself that settled. The one that made promises but didn't follow through, that you is gone. That version was necessary to bring you here, but it has no place in your future. You've evolved past the need to justify delay. You've outgrown the false comfort of putting things off. You're too awake now, too aware, too determined to ever go back to that shallow cycle of wait and regret. The path ahead may still be hard, and that's fine. You're no longer intimidated by the climb. You've built strength through every small decision to act when it was easier to stall. That strength is permanent. It's not built in hype, it's built in silence, in solitude, in the trenches of your own discipline. That strength is why, even when the next wave of resistance hits, you'll stand taller. You'll meet it like a warrior who has already slain their greatest enemy, themselves, because that's what procrastination was, the internal enemy. It wasn't time, it wasn't the task, it wasn't your schedule. It was your own inner resistance, dressed up as a voice that sounded reasonable, a voice that said, you can do it tomorrow, you've got time, you'll feel more ready later. But you don't listen to that voice anymore. You exposed it for what it is, a liar, a thief, a saboteur of your dreams. You've rewritten the script. Now, when that voice speaks, you don't even acknowledge it. You act, you move, you execute, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because nothing great has ever been built by people who waited for the right feeling. Greatness is the reward for those who act consistently in the absence of comfort, and your actions now have purpose. They're not random, they're rooted in clarity. You know what matters, you know why it matters. That clarity is your armor. When distractions come, and they always will, you don't flinch. You've trained your focus like a blade. Sharp, controlled, lethal to every excuse that tries to creep back in. That's the secret that most people never learn. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about making a decision once and reaffirming it every day in the way you show up. You've made that decision, you've reinforced it with 1,000 tiny actions, and now it's unshakable. Now it's who you are, and here's the most powerful part. You're no longer relying on motivation. You've transcended that temporary spark. You've stepped into the deeper energy of discipline, the kind of fuel that doesn't burn out after a few hours, the kind that's rooted in identity. You don't need to be pumped up. You just need to remember who you are now. You are the person who takes action without waiting for the stars to align. You are the person who keeps promises to others, and more importantly, to yourself. You are the person who sees a task and doesn't hesitate. You move, you finish, you deliver, and now the results are starting to show. You feel more in control. You feel more accomplished. You're gaining trust from others, but most importantly, you're gaining trust in yourself. That trust is the foundation for everything else: confidence, momentum, pride, growth. When you trust yourself, there's nothing you can't build, break through, or overcome. So don't let up. Don't slip back. Don't let your old habits seduce you with the false pleasure of later. Later is the graveyard of dreams. You know that now. You've walked past the tombstones of your old intentions, the ones that died waiting for the perfect moment. No more. No more good ideas left to rot in notebooks. No more goals that only exist in conversation. Everything you think about now gets moved into action. That's your standard. And when others around you are still stuck, still saying, "I'll start soon," you don't judge them, but you don't join them either. You lead by example. You show what's possible. Because the most powerful thing about killing procrastination is that you light a path for others to do the same. You become proof, living, breathing proof that change is possible, that discipline works, that goals are not just dreams. They are missions with deadlines. You inspire not with your words, but with your walk. Your pace, your results, and in doing so you raise the bar, not just for yourself, but for everyone who sees you. That is your responsibility now, to stay sharp, to stay ready. To keep acting even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one claps or notices. Because this is who you are now, not a person who tries, not a person who plans, but a person who acts. You've severed the ties with hesitation. You've buried the habits that buried your potential. You've risen above the noise, above the delay, above the distractions. You are not waiting for success. You are chasing it down. You are not hoping for progress. You are creating it, and you'll keep creating it every single day, every single choice, every single time you feel the tug of "I'll do it later." You'll respond with action. Not emotion, not argument, just action. That's your language now. That's your legacy. So keep going, keep executing, keep being the version of yourself you once dreamed of, because now you're not just dreaming. Keep pressing forward even when the road is long and your energy wanes. Remember that every step taken, no matter how small, chips away at the mountain of resistance. Progress isn't always loud or dramatic. Often it's quiet and steady, but it's powerful beyond measure because it compounds. The daily acts of discipline build an unstoppable force within you, one that will carry you through any obstacle. You might still face moments when doubt creeps in, when the old whispers of delay try to reclaim their grip. That's natural. Change is never linear. But now you have something stronger than doubt: experience. You've felt what it's like to overcome, to act in spite of fear, to push beyond hesitation. You've proven to yourself what you are capable of. When those moments come, and they will, lean into your strength. Remind yourself of the victories you've won, the progress you've made, the life you are building. Recall the pride of accomplishment that no excuse can ever replace. Use that as fuel to move forward. You're no longer a passenger in your own life. You're the driver, the one who chooses the direction, who presses the accelerator, who steers through challenges with steady hands and a focused mind. Procrastination has lost its grip because you refuse to give it the keys again. This journey you're on is not just about finishing tasks. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally finishes what they start. Someone whose word is their bond, whose habits reflect their highest values, whose presence commands respect because it's built on relentless follow-through. The future you're creating isn't some distant dream. It's being forged right now, in these moments of choice. Every decision to act is a brick in the foundation of that future. And when you look back someday, you'll see a life defined not by missed chances or empty promises, but by purposeful action and unyielding commitment. So take pride in your progress, but never settle. Keep raising the bar, keep sharpening your focus, keep honoring your potential with the actions you take every day, because killing procrastination once and for all isn't a destination. It's a lifelong commitment, a mindset, a lifestyle. And as you keep moving forward, remember this truth: greatness is never accidental. It is the product of relentless, focused action over time. Each small step you take toward your goals is a victory over procrastination, over fear, over the voices that once held you back. These victories may seem small in the moment, but they are the building blocks of an extraordinary life. You will find that with each task you complete, with each promise you keep to yourself, your confidence will grow. You will feel an increasing sense of control over your life, and that feeling is priceless. Confidence breeds more confidence. Action breeds more action. Momentum becomes unstoppable once it gains enough force. And when you inevitably face setbacks, because life will throw them at you, you won't see them as reasons to stop. You'll see them as challenges to overcome, as opportunities to demonstrate your resilience. You will remember that the true battle was won long ago when you refused to let procrastination dictate your life. Your mindset will be your strongest weapon. It will protect you from slipping back into old habits. You will no longer be a victim of circumstances or emotions, but a master of your own destiny. You will develop an unshakable belief in your ability to get things done, no matter the difficulty or delay. You will also notice how this transformation spills over into every area of your life: relationships, health, creativity, career. When you commit to acting decisively and consistently in one area, that discipline grows and influences others. You become more reliable, more trustworthy, more driven. People notice, doors open, opportunities arise. This is the reward for killing procrastination once and for all. Freedom, freedom from regret. Freedom from the paralysis of indecision. Freedom from the chains of delay. You will wake up each day feeling empowered because you know that no matter what happens, you are prepared, capable, and already making progress. So keep fueling this transformation with daily action. Stay true to the person you have become. Keep showing up even when motivation fades. Trust in the power of consistency and the cumulative effect of your efforts. Remember that each moment wasted is a moment lost forever, but each moment seized is a victory in the making. This is your life, and you are the author of every chapter. Write it boldly, write it with purpose. Write it with the unstoppable action that only comes from those who refuse to procrastinate any longer. You are not just killing procrastination, you are creating a legacy of achievement, strength, and unwavering commitment. And that legacy will inspire not only yourself, but everyone around you. So rise up, take control, and keep moving forward. The best version of yourself is waiting on the other side of action. And you're well on your way to becoming exactly who you were meant to be. And as you continue on this path, remember that every action you take today shapes your tomorrow. The moments you invest in pushing through resistance aren't just tasks completed. They're affirmations of your power to choose, to act, to become. Procrastination may have lingered in your past, but it will never define your future. You've already rewritten your story by choosing action over delay, progress over pause. There will still be days when the weight of doubt presses on your shoulders, when distractions shout louder than your purpose. But by now, you know what to do: breathe, refocus, and move. The muscle of discipline you've built isn't a fragile thing. It's resilient, flexible, and grows stronger with every challenge. That resilience will carry you through storms and quiet moments alike. Surround yourself with reminders of your commitment. Whether it's a journal where you track your daily wins, a vision board that sparks your passion, or the company of people who hold you accountable, build a support system that keeps your fire burning. Motivation may flicker, but discipline, fueled by purpose and community, is a steady flame. Celebrate the progress you've made, but don't rest on it. Each victory is a stepping stone, not the final destination. The life you're building is a continuous journey of growth, learning, and refinement. Embrace the discomfort that comes with change, knowing it's a sign you're moving forward, evolving beyond old limits. And above all, be kind to yourself. Killing procrastination isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. When you stumble, Forgive yourself quickly, recommit, and rise again. Your worth isn't measured by flawless execution, but by the courage to keep trying. You've unlocked a profound truth. The power to act lies within you. It's not a secret held by the fortunate few, but a choice available to anyone willing to step up. By choosing action, you've stepped into that power. You've proven that your dreams are worth the effort, that your time is precious, and that you are capable beyond measure. So move forward with confidence, build momentum with each decision. Harness the strength of your new identity as a doer, a finisher, a relentless force. Your future is not a distant hope. It's a reality being shaped by your hands right now. And as you journey deeper into this new way of living, you will not